Sadly, what we see is that white South Africans don't seem to have any moral compass. So people like myself, we've never offered reparations. We've never knelt down before black people and said, forgive me for the great atrocities I've committed, not only under apartheid, but under colonialism. So I think why I've written No White Lies and about the lack of white accountability is because I'm trying to appeal to white people to shift their national consciousness from one of privilege and white supremacy and entitlement and arrogance, and I can go on a lot, to actually say, recognize the sins that you've committed in this country, whether it's through you or the actions of those that came before you. And you speak about national reconciliation, but white people aren't interested in reconciliation. I think I've always been a black sheep in the community. And although I've said to letters, I've been on television, and I've said, dear white fellow South Africans, it's time for us to give back the land. It's time for us to repent for the things that we've done, because only when we do that can we speak about a stronger together nation, can we speak about reconciliation. And generally what I get is a lot of hate mail, which is disappointing. So I've come to the conclusion, sadly so, that white people are not going to participate in the emancipation of South Africa. In fact, they'll do everything to make sure that this land is never transformed. They are holding on to stolen goods. And yes, possibly I'm seen as the enemy of whiteness. I'm seen as a race traitor. But I actually wear that label very proudly, because if being a race traitor means trying to bring an equitable and just society, then you can label me that any day. South Africa, if South Africa is a rainbow nation, then the rainbow nation must be a very big storm, actually. And I think we did a great disservice to this country and to black South Africans, and in a way white South Africans, in 1994. And in my book, I write about how reconciliation is actually a white man's medicine. It has done a lot of harm to black people. It may not have been intended to cause harm, but it has done no healing. So what we saw in 1994 was black liberation put on the back burner. In fact, in my book, I speak about a stillborn democracy. And I think 1994 took emphasis off the black struggle in what I call this absolute nonsense of non-racialism. I'm not an advocate of non-racialism. I describe myself quite proudly as a former charterist, where this coming together of white people and black people is seen as such a wonderful thing. I don't think it is a wonderful thing. We cannot speak about reconciliation until we speak about being equal partners. And as it stands now, I'm a white privileged person, and black people are still children of a lesser guard in what we would call a democratic government, and under what we once thought was a black government. But the ANC is day by day showing itself as a government that stands for the interests of whiteness rather than the dignity of the black child.